The crack of a golf club, then silence, then a scream that would change everything. Natalie Harper never imagined her doctor's appointment reminder would end with her lying on perfectly manicured grass, bleeding, 6 months pregnant, staring up at the man she married. But here's what her husband Preston didn't know. The Caddie standing 30 feet away, the one who witnessed everything, the one now running toward them with military precision, that wasn't just any Caddie. That was Ryan Harper, Green Beret, Special Forces, Natalie's younger brother. And the video the Caddie master was recording on his phone, crystal clear evidence of a CEO pushing his pregnant wife, evidence Preston could never erase, evidence that would unravel a plan 6 months in the making. This isn't just a story about betrayal. This is a story about what happens when a predator underestimates his prey, when a manipulator finally meets someone who fights back, when a woman discovers she's stronger than she ever knew. What Preston planned would shock you. What Natalie discovered would horrify you. But what happened next? That's the part you need to hear. Stay with me, because this story isn't about revenge. It's about something better, something quieter, something real. This is the story of how Natalie Harper fell down and how she got back up. The crack of the golf club against the ball split the afternoon air. Then silence. Then the scream. Natalie Harper touched her husband's arm. Just a gentle touch, a reminder that they needed to leave for her doctor's appointment. 6 months pregnant meant regular checkups. The baby needed to be monitored. Preston Caldwell's face transformed. 1 second he was smiling at Graham Sutherland, the club president. The next second, his eyes went cold, dead cold. "Don't touch me," he hissed. Natalie stepped back. Her hand dropped. "Preston, we talked about this. The appointment is at 4. It's almost 3:30 now." His hands shot out, palm flat against her shoulder. He shoved. Her body fell backward. 6 months pregnant. The ground rushed up to meet her. Time didn't slow down. That's a lie people tell. Time jerked forward in horrible snapshots. His face twisted with rage. The sky too blue above her. The perfectly manicured grass. Impact. Her back hit first, then her hip. The breath left her lungs in a whoosh. Pain exploded across her right side. Her hands went to her belly automatically. Protecting. Always protecting. "Natalie," a man's voice. Not Preston's voice. Footsteps running. Heavy boots on grass. Strong hands on her shoulders. Careful hands. Military precision in the touch. "Don't move. Let me check you first." Ryan. Her brother Ryan. Natalie blinked up at him. Ryan in Caddie whites. Ryan who was supposed to be overseas. Ryan who'd come home early from deployment. Ryan who'd taken a job at the golf club to surprise her. Ryan who'd been carrying bags for the foursome behind Preston's group. Ryan who'd seen everything. "I'm okay," Natalie said. Her voice came out thin, reedy. "The baby. Is the baby okay?" Ryan's hands moved to her belly. Gentle pressure. "She's moving. I can feel her moving. But we're calling an ambulance. You're bleeding." Natalie touched her temple. Her fingers came away red, blood from a cut somewhere on her head. The grass had been harder than it looked. "It was an accident." Preston's voice. Smooth now. Charming. "She tripped. Pregnancy makes women clumsy. Everyone knows that." Ryan's jaw clenched. Natalie could see the muscle jumping, could see him forcing himself to stay calm, to stay professional, to not do what he wanted to do. "I saw what happened," Ryan said. His voice was level, controlled. "You pushed her." "I did no such thing." Preston laughed, actually laughed. "Graham, you saw. She stumbled. I tried to catch her, but she fell too fast." Graham Sutherland stood there with his golf club. His face was carefully neutral, the face of a man who'd seen things at country clubs, who knew when to speak and when to stay silent. "I'll call for help," Graham said. He pulled out his phone. Travis appeared from the caddy shack. The caddy master. 45 years old and built like a linebacker. He had his phone out too. Recording. The red dot on the screen showed he'd been filming. "I got it on video," Travis said quietly. "All of it, from when she touched your arm to when you pushed her." Preston's face went white, then red, then white again. "You're fired," Preston said. "Can't fire me," Travis replied. "I don't work for you, I work for the club. And the club's going to want to see this footage." A woman came running from the clubhouse, tall, blonde, 26 years old in designer golf clothes. Mallory Bennett, Preston's executive assistant. Mallory, who always seemed to be wherever Preston was. "Oh my God, Natalie!" Mallory's face showed shock, real shock, or maybe good acting. "Are you okay? What happened?" "She fell," Preston said quickly. "Pregnancy. You know how it is." Mallory looked at Preston, then at Natalie on the ground, then at Ryan crouched beside his sister, then at Travis with his phone still recording. "Right," Mallory said slowly. "She fell." But her eyes said she didn't believe it. Or maybe Natalie was imagining things. Maybe pregnancy hormones made women see things that weren't there. Preston had said that enough times. The ambulance arrived 12 minutes later. 12 minutes of Natalie lying on the grass with Ryan's hand on her shoulder. 12 minutes of Preston pacing and talking on his phone. 12 minutes of other golfers gathering to watch. 12 minutes of shame burning through her body. "I'm not dramatic. I'm not overreacting. I'm bleeding and my baby might be hurt because he pushed me." The words ran through her head like a prayer, like a mantra, like something she needed to believe because if she didn't believe it, she'd go crazy. The paramedics were efficient. Blood pressure, pulse, fetal heartbeat check. The baby's heartbeat came through strong and steady on the portable monitor. 140 beats per minute. Normal. Healthy. Alive. "We need to take you to the hospital," the female paramedic said. "Get you checked properly. Make sure everything's okay with the baby." "I'll ride with her," Ryan said. "I'm her husband," Preston said. "I'll ride with her." The paramedic looked between them, looked at Natalie. "Who do you want with you?" Natalie opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Such a simple question. Such an impossible question. Her husband or her brother? The man who pushed her or the man who caught her? "Ryan," she whispered. "I want Ryan." Preston's face went hard. "Fine, I'll meet you there. I need to finish up here anyway. Graham and I were in the middle of discussing business." Business. His pregnant wife was bleeding and going to the hospital, and he needed to finish discussing business. The ambulance ride took 15 minutes. Ryan held her hand the whole time. Didn't say anything. Just held her hand with his calloused fingers. Soldiers' hands. Hands that had held weapons and saved lives and now held hers. "When did you get back?" Natalie asked. 2 weeks ago. Wanted out to surprise you. Got the job at the club because I knew Preston played there every Wednesday. Thought I'd caddy for his group. Make it a funny story." Ryan's voice was tight. "Ended up caddying for the group behind his." "Lucky?" "Yeah, lucky." He squeezed her hand. "I saw everything, Nat. Everything. And that guy, Travis, got it on video. Crystal clear video." Natalie closed her eyes. Video, evidence, proof that she wasn't crazy, that she wasn't dramatic, that she wasn't making things up. 3 months of evidence. 3 months of me thinking I was going crazy. 3 months of him telling me I was too sensitive, too hormonal, too dramatic, but she didn't say that out loud. Couldn't say it out loud. Not yet. Not with the paramedics listening. Not with the walls so thin. The hospital was busy. Emergency rooms on Wednesday afternoons always were. But pregnant women bleeding from the head got moved to the front of the line. Special treatment. VIP service for potential tragedy. They took her to a private exam room. Clean white walls, sterile smell, machines that beeped and hummed, a hospital gown that opened in the back. Ryan waited outside while she changed. Preston arrived 20 minutes later. Natalie could hear his voice in the hallway, loud, commanding, used to being listened to, used to being obeyed. "I'm her husband. You need to let me see her. Now." A nurse came in, young, tired. "Your husband's here." "Let him in," Natalie said, because what else could she say? Preston swept into the room like a CEO entering a board meeting. All confidence and control. He went straight to her bedside, took her hand, kissed her forehead. "Baby, I'm so sorry," he said. "I tried to catch you, but you fell so fast. Are you okay? Is our daughter okay?" Our daughter. He always said our daughter in public. In private, he called the baby it, or the pregnancy, or your situation. The doctor's coming to check, Natalie said. Good, good. I've already called the best obstetrician in the city. Dr. Mitchell, she's on her way. Nothing but the best for you and our baby. Dr. Mitchell arrived 30 minutes later, 41 years old with gray streaking through her dark hair, competent hands, kind eyes, eyes that saw things. Let's take a look, Dr. Mitchell said. She examined the cut on Natalie's head first. Superficial, doesn't need stitches. The bleeding's already stopped. But you've got quite a bump forming. You hit hard. She fell, Preston said. Tripped over her own feet. Pregnancy makes women clumsy. Mitchell didn't respond. She moved to Natalie's belly, pressed carefully, checked for contractions, used the ultrasound machine to look at the baby. The baby appeared on the screen. Perfect. Beautiful. Sucking her thumb, completely unaware that her mother had just been pushed down at a golf course. Heartbeat strong, Dr. Mitchell said. 142 beats per minute. She looks great, but I want to keep you for observation. A few hours minimum. Make sure you're not having any contractions or bleeding. I can stay, Preston said. Cancel my meetings. Stay right here with my wife. Dr. Mitchell looked at him, then at Natalie, then back at him. Actually, I'd like to speak with Natalie alone. Standard procedure after a fall during pregnancy. Preston's smile didn't waver. Of course, whatever you need. I'll just be right outside. He kissed Natalie's forehead again, squeezed her hand, walked out of the room with his phone already to his ear. Back to business. Back to being CEO Preston Caldwell. The door closed. Dr. Mitchell pulled up a stool, sat down at eye level with Natalie. How did this happen? Dr. Mitchell asked quietly. The truth. Natalie's throat closed up. The truth, the simple truth, the impossible truth. I fell, she whispered. Dr. Mitchell waited, just waited. Doctors were good at waiting, at letting silence stretch until people filled it with words they didn't mean to say. He pushed me, Natalie said. The words came out in a rush. I touched his arm to remind him about the appointment, and he pushed me. My brother saw it. The Caddie master got it on video. But Preston says I fell. Preston says I'm clumsy. Preston says pregnancy makes women unstable. Dr. Mitchell nodded slowly. How long has he been hurting you? He doesn't hurt me, not really. He gets frustrated. I make him angry. I don't mean to, but I do. And today, I interrupted his golf game. I shouldn't have interrupted. I should have waited. Natalie, Dr. Mitchell's voice was firm. Listen to me carefully. What happened today was assault. He assaulted you while you were pregnant. That's not your fault. That's not about anything you did or didn't do. That's about his choice to use violence. Assault, such a strong word, such a legal word, such a word that meant police and lawyers and everything falling apart. I don't want to press charges, Natalie said quickly. I just want to go home. I want everything to be okay. Dr. Mitchell pulled out her wallet, extracted a business card, wrote something on the back, handed it to Natalie. My personal cell phone number. Call me anytime, day or night, for any reason. I've been a doctor for 18 years. I know what I'm seeing, and what I'm seeing is a woman who needs help. Natalie took the card, slipped it into her purse, felt like she was accepting drugs or stolen goods or something illicit. Something she shouldn't have. Something dangerous. But also something that might save her life. The hospital bathroom was small and sterile. Natalie sat fully clothed on the closed toilet lid. Her hands rested on her belly. The baby moved. Strong kicks, healthy kicks, alive kicks. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. She counted the kicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The baby was supposed to move at least 10 times in 2 hours. The baby was moving more than that. The baby was fine. I'm sorry, Natalie whispered to her daughter. I'm so sorry. I should have been more careful. I should have waited to remind him. I should have known better. But that was the problem. She did know better. She knew not to touch Preston when he was with clients, knew not to interrupt when he was focused on business, knew not to make demands or set boundaries or expect him to keep his word. When had she learned those rules? When had she become a woman who apologized to her unborn child for her husband's violence? A knock on the bathroom door. Nat, you okay in there? Bossrum. Oh yeah, Nanner, Ryan's voice. Natalie stood, washed her hands, looked at herself in the mirror. Pale face, dark circles under her eyes. A bump forming on her temple where her head had hit the ground. Her maternity shirt was grass-stained. Her dignity was shattered. She opened the door. Ryan stood there with 2 cups of water and a package of crackers from the vending machine. Thought you might be thirsty, and you didn't eat lunch. How do you know I didn't eat lunch? Because I know Preston, and I know he doesn't like to wait for anything, including food. Ryan handed her the water and crackers. Eat. Doctor's orders. They walked back to the exam room. Preston was on his phone in the hallway, pacing, talking rapidly, making deals, running his company, being important. Inside the room, Ryan closed the door, pulled out his phone, pulled up a text message. Travis sent me the video. I'm going to show it to you. You need to see it. You need to see what actually happened, not what Preston says happened, what actually happened. Natalie's hands shook. I don't want to see it. I know, but you need to. Trust me. Ryan pressed play. The video was clear, crystal clear, high definition from a new iPhone. No shaky cam, no bad angles. Professional quality documentation of assault. There was Natalie approaching Preston, her hand reaching out, gentle, tentative, barely a touch, just a reminder, just a whisper of contact on his arm. There was Preston's face transforming, the rage, the cold calculation, the decision made in a split second. There was the pish, hard, deliberate, both hands, maximum force, meant to hurt, meant to punish, meant to teach a lesson. There was Natalie falling, her arms reaching for something to grab. Nothing there, just air and gravity and the ground coming up fast. There was Ryan running, dropping the golf bag, military training kicking in, assessment mode, protect and defend. There was Preston stepping back, smoothing his golf shirt, looking around to see who witnessed, calculating, always calculating. The video ended. Natalie's hands were shaking so hard she had to put down the water cup. He pushed me. Yes. He really pushed me. I didn't trip. I didn't stumble. He pushed me with both hands. Yes. I've been telling myself maybe I misremembered. Maybe it happened fast and I got confused. Maybe pregnancy brain made me think wrong. Her voice cracked. But he pushed me. Ryan pulled her into a hug, careful of her belly, careful of her bruises, just held her while she cried. Silent tears, no sobbing, no drama, just tears leaking out like her body couldn't hold them anymore. I'm not remembering it wrong. The evidence is right here. I've been living in his version of reality. The door opened. Dr. Mitchell came in with a tablet and a serious expression. She saw Natalie crying and Ryan hugging her, saw the phone still showing the paused video. Put the pieces together instantly. I see, Dr. Mitchell said quietly. She closed the door behind her, locked it. Have you called the police? No, Natalie said, I can't. I can't do that to Preston. His career, his reputation, his mother would never forgive me. His mother, Dr. Mitchell repeated. What about you? What about your daughter? I just need to be more careful. I need to not provoke him. I need to be a better wife. Dr. Mitchell sat down, opened the tablet, pulled up photos, medical photos, photos of bruises and broken bones and pregnant women with black eyes. I've been an obstetrician for 18 years, Dr. Mitchell said. I've seen this pattern before. It starts with pushing, then slapping, then punching. It escalates during pregnancy. The stress of a baby coming makes violent men more violent. Preston's not violent. He's just stressed. The company merger, the pressure. If I could just be less demanding. Natalie, Dr. Mitchell's voice was sharp. You asked him to leave for a doctor's appointment, a scheduled appointment for his child. That's not demanding, that's reasonable, and his response was to push his pregnant wife hard enough to knock her down and split her head open. That's not stress, that's abuse. The word hung in the air. Abuse, 4 letters, 1 syllable, a word that meant shelters and hotlines and women's support groups. A word that didn't apply to wives of CEOs. a word that didn't apply to women who lived in four-bedroom houses and drove luxury SUVs and had walk-in closets full of designer maternity clothes. "I need to think," Natalie said. "I need time to process." Dr. Mitchell nodded. "You can stay here as long as you need. I've cleared my schedule, but I want you to do something for me. I want you to document everything. Write it down every time he yells, every time he pushes, every time he makes you feel small. Write it down with dates and times. Evidence matters." Ryan's phone buzzed, a text message. He read it. His face went hard. "Travis just sent me something else," Ryan said. "Preston's been texting people. Damage control, getting his story straight, making sure everyone knows you fell, that you're unstable, that pregnancy has made you emotional and clumsy." "Can I see?" Natalie asked. Ryan hesitated. "It's bad. I need to see." He handed her the phone. Screenshots of text messages. Preston to Graham Sutherland. Preston to his business partners. Preston to his mother. All the same story, all the same lies, all designed to make Natalie look crazy. Preston to Graham. "Natalie had another episode today. Fell at the club. I think the pregnancy hormones are making her unstable. Might need to look into medication." Preston to his CFO. "Wife troubles. She's getting more demanding as the pregnancy progresses. Can't wait for the nanny to take over so I can focus on work." Preston to Vivian, his mother. "Your daughter-in-law embarrassed me at the club today. Fell down in front of everyone. Made a scene. You were right about her not being suitable." Not being suitable. Like Natalie was a job candidate. Like she was being evaluated for performance. Like she was failing some test she didn't know she was taking. "How did Travis get these?" Natalie asked. Preston left his phone on the golf cart. Travis saw it before Preston came back. "Took photos. He knows what he's seeing. He's documenting everything." Dr. Mitchell checked Natalie's vital signs one more time. "Everything looks stable. No contractions, no bleeding. The baby's doing great, but I want you to come back in 2 days for a follow-up, and I want you to promise me something." "What?" "Promise me you'll think about what happens next. Really think about it. Not what's convenient, not what's easiest, but what's safest for you and your daughter." Natalie promised. Didn't mean it, but promised anyway. Because that's what you did with doctors and authority figures and people who were trying to help. You promised things you had no intention of keeping. Dr. Mitchell left. Ryan stayed. Natalie got dressed in her grass-stained clothes, tried to finger comb her hair over the bump on her temple. Failed. The evidence of her fall, her push, was visible no matter what she did. Preston came back in, all smiles and concern. "Ready to go home, baby? I've got the car out front. Told the valet to keep it running. AC on, nice and cool for you and our princess." Our princess. The baby he called it in private was suddenly our princess in public. They rode home in Preston's BMW, leather seats, satellite radio, climate control set to exactly 72 degrees. All the comfort money could buy, all the luxury success could provide, all the trappings of a perfect life. Natalie stared out the window, watched the city pass by, expensive neighborhoods, manicured lawns, women pushing strollers, normal people living normal lives, people who didn't get pushed at golf courses, people whose husbands didn't text lies to business partners. Preston's phone buzzed constantly. Text messages, emails, calls. He answered them all. Multitasked while driving, checked his rearview mirror, more to look at his phone than to check traffic. "Graham's upset about the scene at the club," Preston said casually. "Said it reflected poorly on both of us. I told him you've been having balance issues, pregnancy thing. He understood." "Ryan saw what happened," Natalie said quietly, "and Travis recorded it." Preston's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "Your brother's always been dramatic, and Travis is looking for a lawsuit payday. That video doesn't show anything except you falling. I was trying to catch you. Anyone can see that. That's not what the video shows. That's exactly what the video shows. And that's what everyone will say when they see it. You're misremembering. Pregnancy brain. It's very common. Dr. Mitchell mentioned it. Said pregnant women often get confused about events. Dr. Mitchell hadn't said that, hadn't said anything like that, but Preston said it with such confidence, such certainty, such absolute conviction that for a moment Natalie doubted herself. Maybe she was misremembering. Maybe the video looked different than she thought. Maybe pregnancy hormones were making her paranoid and emotional and unstable. But no, she'd seen the video, seen his face, seen the push, seen the truth. They pulled into the garage of their house, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, home gym, wine cellar. Everything a successful couple needed. Preston helped her out of the car, solicitous, attentive, perfect husband behavior. They walked into the house through the garage door, into the kitchen, into the heart of their life together. And there on the dresser in the hallway was something Natalie had forgotten about. The nanny cam. The camera she'd set up 3 months ago when Preston said he'd be working from home more. The camera that recorded everything. The camera that automatically uploaded to cloud storage. The camera Preston didn't know about. "I'm going to my office to make some calls," Preston said. "Rest. Put your feet up. I'll order dinner later. Anything you want." He kissed her forehead, walked away, closed his office door, became CEO Preston again. Work Preston. Important Preston. Natalie stood in the hallway, stared at the nanny cam, thought about 3 months of footage, 3 months of Preston when he thought no one was watching, 3 months of truth. She pulled out her phone, opened the cloud storage app, started scrolling through saved videos. 3 months of evidence. 3 months of me thinking I was going crazy. 3 months of him telling me I was too sensitive, too hormonal, too dramatic. Ryan's text came through. "Mom's on her way. She'll be there in 2 hours. I told her you need her. Don't argue." Natalie didn't argue, couldn't argue, just sat down on the couch and started watching videos of her life. Videos of who Preston really was when he thought no one was looking. The truth was worse than she imagined. Natalie sat on the couch with her laptop balanced on her swollen belly. Ryan sat beside her, both of them staring at the screen. Both of them watching 3 months of footage from the nanny cam. The first video was from June 3rd, 3 months and 5 days ago, Preston's home office. The camera caught part of the hallway and a slice of the kitchen. Preston on the phone, voice loud, angry. "I don't care what she wants. The baby registry is full of unnecessary crap. Cancel half of it. She doesn't need 2 cribs. She doesn't need a fancy stroller. She's being ridiculous." Natalie remembered that day. She'd spent hours researching baby products, reading reviews, making careful choices. Preston had said he'd handle ordering everything. Said he wanted to take that stress off her shoulders. Said he was being helpful. He'd canceled half her registry and never told her. Next video, June 10th, kitchen, late at night. Natalie walked in wearing pajamas, 6 months pregnant, exhausted, hair messy, face puffy from sleep. "Did you eat the last yogurt?" she asked. Her voice was gentle, questioning, not accusatory. Preston stood at the counter. "So what if I did?" "I was saving it for breakfast. The Greek yogurt helps with my morning sickness." "Then you should have written your name on it. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not your servant. Buy more if you want it so badly." I just mentioned it. I wasn't trying to start a fight." "Everything starts a fight with you lately. You're so sensitive, so demanding. I can't do anything right." Preston picked up his coffee mug, hurled it across the kitchen. It shattered against the wall, coffee and ceramic everywhere. "There. Happy now? Now I've given you something to actually complain about." Natalie in the video flinched, stepped back, put her hand protectively over her belly. "I'll clean it up." "You're damn right you'll clean it up. And next time think before you nag me about yogurt at 11 at night." He walked out, left her standing there, left her to clean up the mess, left her to pick up broken pieces of ceramic with shaking hands. Natalie on the couch started crying. Silent tears, the kind that happened when you were too tired for sound. "I told him I dropped that mug," she whispered. "Told Mom I was clumsy. Told everyone it was my fault." Ryan's jaw clenched. The muscle jumped, his hands curled into fists. "Keep watching. Next video, June 17th, living room, afternoon, Natalie on the phone with someone. Her voice happy, excited. Yes, Mom, the 20-week ultrasound is tomorrow. We find out if she's healthy, if everything's developing right. I'm so nervous. But Preston will be there. He promised. Preston walked in, saw her on the phone, snatched it out of her hand. She has to go, he said into the phone. Ended the call, turned to Natalie. I told you I have a meeting tomorrow. I can't go to the ultrasound. Reschedule it. But you promised. You said you'd be there. I already scheduled time off from the doctor's office. They're so busy and they made space for us. So go by yourself. You don't need me there. It's just pictures. They'll give you copies. I'll look at them later. Preston, please. I want you there. I need you there. She's our daughter. Don't you want to see her? Don't you want to see her? Preston mimicked in a high-pitched voice. You sound pathetic, clingy, desperate. This is why I can't stand being around you. You're suffocating me. I'm not trying to suffocate you. I thought you'd want to be involved. I am involved. I pay for everything. I provide for you. I gave you this house. I gave you this life, and you repay me by nagging and demanding and acting like I owe you something. He stepped closer, got in her face. I don't owe you anything. You're lucky I married you. You're lucky I'm keeping this baby. Don't forget that. Natalie in the video started crying, soft sobs, broken sounds. Preston walked away, disgusted. And now you're crying. Perfect, just perfect. I'll be in my office. Don't bother me. The video ended. He didn't go to the ultrasound, Natalie said. Her voice was flat, empty. I went alone, saw our daughter's face for the first time alone, found out she was healthy alone, cried in the parking lot alone, told everyone Preston had an emergency meeting, made excuses, protected him. Ryan pulled her close, let her cry against his shoulder. Solid, safe. The brother who taught her to ride a bike, who'd scared off bullies in middle school, who'd enlisted right after high school to serve his country, who'd come home to find his sister broken. How many more videos are there, Ryan asked. Natalie scrollballed. 63 from 3 months of recording. We don't have to watch them all now. Yes, we do. I need to see. I need to know I'm not crazy. They kept watching. June 24th, Preston screaming at her for buying the wrong brand of coffee. Are you stupid? I've told you 100 times I only drink the Italian roast. Not the French roast, not the Colombian. Italian. How hard is that to remember? I'm sorry, they were out of Italian. I thought you'd want something similar. You thought wrong. You always think wrong. God, I don't know how you function. He grabbed the bag of coffee, dumped it in the trash, grounds everywhere. There. Problem solved. Now I have no coffee. Thanks so much. June 30th, Preston on the phone with Graham, his voice casual, joking. The pregnancy's made her impossible, emotional, demanding, always crying about something. Can't wait for the nanny to take over so I can get back to normal life. July 8th, Preston working late, Natalie bringing him dinner. Homemade lasagna, his favorite. I thought you might be hungry. You've been working so hard. I'm busy. Can't you see I'm busy? Why do you always interrupt me? He didn't even look at the food. And I told you I'm watching my carbs. Lasagna is pure carbs. Were you trying to sabotage my diet? July 15th, Preston's mother Vivian visiting. Both of them in the kitchen. Natalie upstairs resting. Their voices carrying. She's not what I hoped for you, Vivian said. Not sophisticated enough, not polished enough. She's going to hold you back professionally. Mark my words. I know, Mother. Believe me, I know. But she's pregnant now. I have to wait until after the baby. Can't divorce a pregnant woman. Looks bad. Once the baby's here and I establish myself as the primary parent, then I can make changes. Primary parent? You? I'll hire a nanny. Document everything. Show that Natalie's unstable, depressed, unable to cope. Then I'll file for divorce and get full custody. The baby becomes my responsibility. Natalie becomes irrelevant. Silence on the couch, complete silence. The kind of silence that meant the world had just shifted, that everything had just changed, that nothing would ever be the same. He's been planning this, Natalie whispered. Since I got pregnant, since the day the test came back positive, he's been planning to take my baby. Ryan was on his phone, texting rapidly. I'm calling Mom. Tell her to get here faster. And I'm calling someone else. Who? Beth Moreno. Remember her, your friend from work? Before Preston made you quit. Natalie remembered. Beth with the sharp blazer and sharper mind. Beth who'd made partner at her law firm at 32. Beth who'd specialized in family law. Beth who'd said, call me if you ever need anything, and meant it. She's a divorce lawyer, Natalie said. Exactly. Ryan kept texting, and you're going to need one. Natalie's hands went to her belly. The baby kicked. Strong kicks. Determined kicks. Her daughter who didn't know her father was planning to steal her. Her daughter who didn't know her mother was just now realizing how much danger they were both in. He didn't change. I did. I got smaller, quieter, more apologetic. The realization hit like a second fall. Harder than the first, more painful than any physical push. Preston hadn't suddenly become abusive. Preston had always been abusive. Natalie had just slowly learned to accept it, to excuse it, to protect him, to shrink herself down to nothing so she wouldn't provoke him. When had she stopped being herself? When had she started apologizing for breathing? When had she become a woman who was grateful her husband didn't hit her, only pushed her? The front door opened. Diane Harper rushed in, 58 years old with gray streaks in her brown hair, retired nurse, widow, mother who knew her daughter was in trouble even without being told details. Natalie, Diane pulled her daughter into a hug. Careful of the pregnant belly, careful of the bruises. Ryan told me you fell, told me to come quick. Are you okay? Is the baby okay? We're watching videos, Ryan said. Nanny cam footage, 3 months of Preston being Preston. Diane's face hardened. She was a nurse, had seen abuse, had documented injuries, had filed reports, knew the signs. Show me, Diane said. They showed her. Video after video, Preston's rage, Preston's manipulation, Preston's plan to take the baby, Preston's true face. Diane's hand shook. How long has this been going on? I don't know anymore, Natalie said. I think it's always been like this. I made excuses. I told myself it wasn't that bad. I told myself he was stressed. I told myself I was overreacting. The doorbell rang. Ryan answered. Beth Moreno walked in, 34 years old, fitted navy suit, heels, briefcase, all business. Ryan filled me in on the drive over, Beth said. I came as fast as I could. Natalie, I'm here as a friend, but if you need me as a lawyer, I'm ready. I don't know what I need, Natalie said. Then let me help you figure it out. Beth sat down, pulled out a legal pad, started taking notes. Tell me everything. So Natalie told her. The golf course, the push, the hospital, the videos, the plan to take her baby, everything spilling out like water from a broken dam, all the secrets she'd been keeping, all the excuses she'd been making, all the truth she'd been hiding. Beth wrote it all down. Efficient, professional, angry but controlled. This is a strong case, Beth said. Golf course incident with witnesses, security footage, medical documentation. And these videos. These videos are gold. They show pattern and premeditation. They show his true character. They show he's been planning this for months. Planning what? Natalie asked. Even though she knew, even though the answer was obvious. Planning to divorce you and take full custody of your daughter. But he made a mistake. He documented his plan. He said it out loud. He gave us evidence. Beth looked up from her notes. We can fight this. We can win this, but you have to be ready. You have to be sure of, because once we start, there's no going back. Natalie's phone buzzed, a text from Preston. Preston, still working. Order dinner for yourself. Don't wait up. Important conference call with Singapore. A lie. Probably a lie. Maybe meeting Mallory, maybe just avoiding her, maybe both. Natalie looked at her mother, at her brother, at her friend who'd come running when called, at the people who actually loved her, who actually wanted to protect her, who actually cared whether she lived or died. Then she looked at the laptop, at the frozen video of Preston's face, at the evidence of who he really was, at the truth she'd been hiding from. I want to fight, Natalie said. Her voice was quiet but steady, clear, certain. I want to protect my daughter. I want to get away from him. Tell me what to do. Beth smiled, not a happy smile, a warrior smile. First, we document everything. Copy all these videos, save them in multiple places, cloud storage, external drive, my office server. We make sure this evidence can't disappear. Preston's been texting people, Ryan said. Damage control, getting his story straight. Good, Beth said. Let him text, let him call, let him spread his version. Because we have video proving the truth, and video beats testimony every time. They worked through the evening, copying files, taking screenshots, building a case, creating a timeline, documenting every incident. Preston's office door stayed closed. He never came out, never checked on Natalie, never asked if she needed anything. Just stayed in his fortress of work and importance and self-absorption. Around 8 o'clock, Diane made grilled cheese sandwiches, comfort food, childhood food, food that said, "You're safe now." They ate in the living room. Natalie between her mother and brother, Beth across from them with files spread out. Planning, strategizing, fighting. I need to tell you something, Beth said carefully. I did some preliminary research on Preston's company. The merger he's been working on, it's not going well. There are rumors about financial problems, about accounting irregularities, about the board being unhappy. What does that mean? Natalie asked. It means his finances might not be what you think. It means there might be hidden accounts, moved money, assets that aren't on paper. It means we need to dig deeper. Beth pulled out another form. I'm going to need access to bank statements, credit card records, tax returns, anything financial. He keeps all that in his office on his computer. Can you get access? Natalie thought about it. He uses the same password for everything. I know it. Then tonight, while he's sleeping, we get what we need. We copy everything. We build a complete picture. Beth's eyes were fierce. He wants to take your daughter. We're going to make sure he can't. Around 10 o'clock, Preston's office door opened. He came out looking tired, stressed, older than 38. He saw everyone sitting in the living room, stopped, stared. What's going on? Preston asked. His voice was casual, but his eyes were calculating. Diane, Ryan, Beth, this is unexpected. Natalie had a rough day, Diane said. Her voice was steel wrapped in velvet. We're here to support her. Right, the fall. Of course. Preston smiled, warm, concerned. Perfect husband. Baby, you should be resting, not entertaining. You need to think about our daughter. I am thinking about our daughter, Natalie said quietly. That's exactly what I'm doing. Preston's smile flickered. Just for a second. Just long enough to show the calculation behind it. Then it was back. Full wattage. All charm. Well, I'm glad you have a support. I need to finish up some work. Big day tomorrow. Conference call with the Singapore office at 6 in the morning. He looked at Beth. Nice to see you again, Beth. Been a while since the company holiday party. You're looking well? Thank you, Beth said. Nothing more. Professional smile, lawyer smile. The smile that said, I'm documenting everything you say. Preston went back to his office, closed the door. They all heard the lock click. He locked it, Ryan said. He knows something's wrong, Beth said. He's going to start protecting himself. We need to move faster. Natalie stood up, hands on her aching lower back, 6 months pregnant and exhausted and scared and determined. I'll get the password, she said. I'll get the files. I'll get everything we need. Not alone, Ryan said. I'm staying. Diane's staying. We're not leaving you alone with him. Diane pulled out her phone. I'm booking a hotel room, close by. We'll go there after we get the files, get you somewhere safe. This is my house, Natalie said. Why should I leave? Because staying here tonight isn't safe, Beth said gently. Not with what we're planning, not with what we know. We get the evidence. We get you out. Then we move forward. The baby kicked. Hard, like she agreed, like she was saying, yes, get us out, protect us, fight. Natalie put her hand on her belly. Okay, we leave tonight. We get evidence first, then we go. They made a plan. Waited until Preston's office went dark, until they heard him go upstairs to bed, until the house was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the tick of the clock and the sound of 4 people breathing in the darkness. Then Natalie went to Preston's office door with her mother's phone in her hand, entered the password, opened the lock, stepped into his private space, and found more than she ever expected. Preston's office smelled like leather and expensive cologne, mahogany desk, ergonomic chair, dual monitors, certificates on the wall, photos of Preston shaking hands with important people. No photos of Natalie, no photos of their wedding, no evidence she existed at all. Natalie sat in his chair, felt like an intruder, like she was violating sacred space, like she was doing something wrong. But this was her house too, her life too, her future at stake. She opened the laptop, entered the password. The screen came alive. Email inbox loaded, hundreds of unread messages. She started scrolling. Work stuff, golf stuff, messages from Mallory that were too familiar, too casual, too intimate for just colleagues. Then she found the folder, hidden in documents, labeled personal finance. Inside were spreadsheets, account numbers, transfer records, a separate bank account Preston had never mentioned. An account with her name on it, but her signature forged. An account that had been systematically drained over 6 months. $100,000. Gone. Moved to another account in Preston's name only. Money that should have been theirs. Money that was legally hers. Money he'd stolen. "Beth," Natalie called softly, "you need to see this." Beth came in, Diane and Ryan behind her. They crowded around the laptop, stared at the evidence of financial abuse. "He's been moving money," Beth said, "hiding assets, preparing for divorce. This is fraud." "How long has this been happening?" Diane asked. Natalie scrolled through the records. 6 months since I told him I was pregnant. Since the moment he knew about the baby, he'd started planning, started stealing, started building his exit strategy while telling Natalie he loved her, while posting photos of them on social media, while pretending to be excited about becoming a father. Ryan took photos of every screen, every document, every piece of evidence. "Keep looking," Beth said. "If he hid this, there's more." There was more. Another folder. Legal research. Inside were documents about custody laws, printouts about terminating parental rights, research about mental health defenses, ways to prove a mother unfit, notes in Preston's handwriting. Document her crying, note every emotional outburst, record her weight gain and appearance deterioration, build case for postpartum depression before she even delivers. He'd been planning to destroy her, to document her pregnancy symptoms as evidence of instability, to use her body's natural changes as proof she wasn't capable of being a mother. "This is premeditation," Beth said. Her voice was shaking, actually shaking. "This is calculated. This is worse than I've seen." Natalie kept scrolling, found another folder. Insurance. Inside were life insurance policies, one on her, one on the baby, both with Preston as sole beneficiary. The policy on Natalie was for $2 million, dated 6 months ago, right after she got pregnant. "He insured you," Ryan said. His voice was cold, deadly cold, military cold. "For $2 million after you got pregnant." "Lots of couples have life insurance," Natalie said, but her voice was uncertain. "Not this much," Beth said. "Not taken out right after pregnancy announcement. Not with the beneficiary being only the husband. This is suspicious." Natalie's hands went to her belly, protective, always protective. "You don't think?" "I don't know what to think," Beth said, "but I know we're documenting this, and I know we're getting you somewhere safe tonight, right now." Natalie kept searching, found his email to his lawyer, dated 2 weeks ago. Preston to attorney. "Need prenup evaluated, wife is 4 months pregnant. Want to know if pregnancy constitutes changed circumstances for renegotiation. Also need grounds to prove violation. She worked part-time for 3 months after marriage. Does that violate the no employment clause? I want out with everything, house, assets, full custody. She gets nothing." The prenup. Natalie remembered signing it. Preston's lawyer explaining the terms. No employment during marriage, no claims to his premarital assets, limited support in case of divorce. She'd signed it because she loved him, because she trusted him, because she thought they'd be together forever. She'd worked part-time for 3 months helping a friend's business. Cash under the table. Preston had known, had said it was fine, had said the prenup was just paperwork, doesn't mean anything. But he'd been documenting it, saving it, planning to use it to void her protections and take everything. "I've seen enough," Beth said. "We have what we need, more than what we need. Now we go." Natalie copied everything to a flash drive, sent copies to Beth's encrypted email, uploaded backups to 3 different cloud services, made sure the evidence couldn't disappear, couldn't be destroyed, couldn't be denied. They moved quietly through the house. Natalie packed a bag, essentials only, clothes, toiletries, the folder with her important documents, the flash drive with the videos, her laptop, her phone charger. She looked at her bedroom, the bedroom she'd shared with Preston for 5 years, the bed where she'd slept beside him, the closet full of maternity clothes he'd criticized, the life she'd built that turned out to be a prison. When did her finger get so thin? She noticed her wedding ring spinning loose on her finger. When had she lost so much weight? When had she started disappearing? She took off the ring, left it on the dresser, walked away. Ryan carried her bag. Diane had her arm. Beth led the way. They walked out through the garage, got into Diane's car, drove away from the house, away from Preston, away from the life that had been slowly killing her. The hotel was 10 minutes away. Nice but not fancy, the kind of place that rented rooms by the week to business travelers. Anonymous, safe, temporary. Beth checked them into adjoining rooms, used her credit card so there'd be no paper trail to Natalie, paid cash for incidentals, covered their tracks. Inside the hotel room, Natalie sat on the bed, stared at nothing. Everything felt surreal, like she was watching her life happen to someone else, like she'd somehow stepped outside her body and was floating above, observing. "You're in shock," Diane said gently. She sat beside Natalie, put her arm around her. "Your body's protecting you from feeling too much at once." "I don't feel anything," Natalie said. "I should feel something, scared or sad or angry. But I just feel empty." "That'll change," Beth said. "Right now, you're in survival mode. Your brain's doing what it needs to do to get you through. The feelings will come later." Ryan ordered room service, sandwiches, soup, fruit. None of them ate much, but they tried, going through the motions of normal life while everything was falling apart. Around midnight, Beth laid out the plan. "Tomorrow I file for divorce, emergency custody hearing, restraining order. We hit him with everything at once, no warning, no negotiation. We show the judge the videos, the financial fraud, the custody planning, the insurance policies. We overwhelm the court with evidence." "He'll fight back," Natalie said. "Of course he will. He'll hire the best lawyers money can buy. He'll paint you as unstable, vindictive, manipulative. He'll use every trick in the book." Beth leaned forward. "But we have the truth. We have evidence. We have documentation. And most importantly, we have witnesses." "The golf course," Ryan said. "Travis's video. Graham Sutherland saw everything, the medical records from the hospital. Dr. Mitchell's notes. Exactly, we have a case, a strong case. Probably the strongest case I've had in 5 years of family law." Beth looked at Natalie. "But you have to be ready. He's going to get nasty. He's going to make you look bad. He's going to dig up everything he can use against you." "I don't have anything to hide," Natalie said. "Everyone has something. That's what his lawyers will think. They'll look for past relationships, failed jobs, social media posts, anything to build a counter-narrative." "Let them look," Natalie said. Her voice was stronger now, getting stronger. "I've got nothing to hide, but Preston does. Preston has everything to hide." Her phone buzzed. Text message from Preston. "Preston, where are you? Your car's still here, but you're not. Call me." Beth took the phone. "Don't respond. Let him wonder. Let him worry. We control the narrative now." Another text came through, then another. then 5 more in rapid succession. Preston. Natalie, this isn't funny. Preston. Your mother's car is gone too. Preston. Did you go to her house? Preston. We need to talk about today. Preston. You're being dramatic. Preston. Fine, ignore me, but you'll come home eventually. You always do. Beth turned off the phone. He's spiraling. Good. Let him spiral. Let him make mistakes. They talked through the night, planning, strategizing, building their case. Beth made lists. Diane made tea. Ryan paced like a caged animal wanting to fight but having no one to fight. Around 3 in the morning, Natalie stood at the hotel window, looked out at the city lights, thought about Preston in their house. Alone. Probably still awake. Probably figuring out she'd accessed his computer. Probably making plans of his own. But she wasn't afraid. Should be afraid. Should be terrified. But instead she felt clear, focused, determined. I'd been more worried about embarrassing his family than protecting myself. Even now, even knowing everything, part of me wanted to protect his reputation. That's what he trained me to do, but that training was breaking, cracking, falling away like dead skin, and underneath was someone Natalie barely recognized. Someone stronger. Someone who'd been buried but not dead. Someone who was ready to fight. Beth appeared beside her at the window. Second thoughts? No, just thinking about who I used to be. Before Preston, before I learned to make myself small. You're going to find her again, that version of yourself, but you're also going to be someone new, someone who's been through fire and survived, someone who's stronger than she ever knew she could be. I don't feel strong. You left, Celeste. That's the hardest part. That's the part where most women fail. You left, you got out, you protected your daughter. That's strength. Natalie's phone lit up on the dresser. Beth had turned it back on to check for important messages. A text from an unknown number. Unknown. This is Mallory Bennett. I know you don't know me well, but I need to talk to you. About Preston, about everything. He doesn't know I'm reaching out. Please, it's important. Beth read the message, looked at Natalie. Could be a trap. Could be him using her phone to find you. Or it could be genuine, Ryan said. Travis said she looked shocked at the golf course, like she hadn't expected Preston to actually push you. Could be an act, Beth said. She's been having an affair with him. She's complicit. Or she's another victim, Natalie said quietly. Another woman he's manipulating. They debated for 20 minutes. The risks, the benefits, the possibilities. Finally, Natalie said, let's meet her. Public place. Daytime. With Ryan nearby. See what she has to say. Beth typed a response. Coffee shop on Main Street. Tomorrow at 2. Come alone. The response came back immediately. I'll be there, thank you. They tried to sleep. Diane in one bed, Natalie in the other, Ryan on the couch, Beth in the adjoining room. All of them too wired, too worried, too uncertain about what came next. But Natalie closed her eyes and felt her daughter move inside her. Strong kicks, determined kicks, survivor kicks. We're going to be okay, she whispered to her belly. We're going to be better than okay. And for the first time in 6 months, she believed it. Morning came too fast, sunlight through hotel curtains, the sound of traffic outside, the smell of hotel coffee, a new day in a new reality. Natalie's phone exploded with messages, 37 texts from Preston, 15 voicemails, emails, direct messages on social media, all of them variations of the same theme. Where are you? Come home. We need to talk. You're overreacting. I'm worried about you. This is ridiculous. Beth scrolled through them. Classic pattern. Love bombing mixed with guilt tripping, mixed with threats. He's cycling through strategies trying to find what works. The last voicemail made them all go still. Preston's voice was different, cold, calculated. Natalie, I know you're with your mother. I know Ryan's involved, and I know Beth Moreno is helping you. You think you're being smart, but you're making a huge mistake. I have lawyers too, better lawyers, and they're going to make you look unstable, unfit. I'm going to get full custody of our daughter. You'll be lucky to get supervised visitation. Come home now and we can work this out. Otherwise, you're declaring war. And trust me, you won't win. Natalie's hands shook. Ryan took the phone, deleted the voicemail. He's trying to scare you. That's all this is. He's succeeding, Natalie said. Good, Beth said. Let him think he's succeeding. Let him think you're scared. Because scared people make mistakes, and we're not making mistakes. He is. Beth filed the paperwork at 9 that morning. Divorce petition, emergency custody motion, restraining order request, child support, spousal support, everything. The court clerk processed the documents, set a hearing date, 10 days from now. Emergency hearings move fast, 10 days to prepare, 10 days until Natalie's entire future would be decided. Beth came back to the hotel at noon. It's done. He'll be served this afternoon at his office. Maximum embarrassment, maximum impact. He's going to explode, Diane said. Let him explode. Let him rage. Let him show everyone who he really is. Beth pulled out more documents. I also filed for access to financial records, subpoenaed his bank accounts, his company accounts, everything. If he's hiding money, we're going to find it. At 2 o'clock, they went to the coffee shop. Main Street, busy, public, safe. Ryan sat 3 tables away pretending to read the newspaper, close enough to intervene, far enough to not be obvious. Mallory Bennett arrived at 2:15, 26 years old, blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail, no makeup, dark circles under her eyes, yoga pants and a sweatshirt. Not the polished executive assistant from the golf course, just a young woman who looked tired and scared. She sat down across from Natalie and Beth, hands wrapped around a coffee cup. Not drinking, just holding, using the heat as an anchor. Thank you for meeting me, Mallory said. I wasn't sure you would. I almost didn't, Natalie said. You're sleeping with my husband. I was sleeping with your husband, past tense, that ended yesterday. Mallory's voice was quiet, steady. When I saw him push you, when I saw you fall, when I realized he could hurt someone he was supposed to love, I ended it. Why should I believe you? Beth asked. Lawyer voice, cross-examination voice. Because I'm pregnant too. Mallory looked up, met Natalie's eyes. 10 weeks, Preston's baby. And when I told him yesterday, he said to get rid of it. Said his legitimate child was enough. Said I was being stupid. Said I was trying to trap him. The words hung in the air, heavy, damning, tragic. He told you to get an abortion? Natalie asked. Not even that polite. He told me to handle it. Said if I kept it, he'd deny it was his. Said he'd destroy my career. Said he'd make sure I never worked in this city again. Mallory's hands were shaking. That's when I knew. I wasn't special. You weren't the problem. He is. She stirred her coffee, 3 times clockwise. Never drank it, just stirred. A nervous habit, a coping mechanism. Natalie recognized it. She used to do the same thing during arguments with Preston, before she learned to just be silent. I need you to know something, Mallory said. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking to be friends. I'm offering to help. I have recordings, emails, photos, evidence of everything. Beth leaned forward. What kind of recordings? Preston likes to talk. When we were together, he talked about his plans, about you, Natalie, about the baby, about getting full custody, about building a case against you. Mallory pulled out her phone. I recorded some of it, not all of it, but enough. She played the first recording, Preston's voice coming through clear. Too clear, unmistakably him. Preston, the key is documentation. I document every time she cries, every time she gains weight, every time she looks tired or can't cope. Build it up slowly. Then after the baby's born, I call CPS, report concerns, get them to investigate. Even if they don't find anything, the investigation goes on her record. Looks bad in custody court. Mallory, that seems extreme. Preston, it's strategic. She's not going to just hand over custody. I need ammunition, and her family history helps. Her mother had depression after her father died. Genetic predisposition to mental illness. I can use that. The recording ended. Natalie couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. He'd planned to use her mother's grief against her mother who'd lost her husband to cancer, who'd grieved like any normal person, who'd recovered and moved on and raised 2 children and had a successful career. There's more, Mallory said. She played another recording, this one from 3 weeks ago. Preston, the baby's my ticket out. I establish I'm the stable parent, the provider, the one with the resources. She's just the incubator. Once the baby's here, she's irrelevant. I'll offer her supervised visitation. Maybe, if she behaves. Mallory, what about child support? Preston, she'll owe me child support. I'll have full custody. She'll have to pay. Poetic justice, right? She tried to trap me with a pregnancy. Instead, she's going to pay me for the privilege of having trapped me. Natalie was crying silent tears, the kind that happened when words weren't enough. Mallory had more. Photos of Preston with her at company events, dates and times, receipts from hotels, credit card statements, an entire affair documented with precision. Why did you keep all this? Beth asked. Insurance, Mallory said simply. I work in tech. I know how men like Preston operate. I knew if things went bad, I'd need protection. I didn't realize how bad until yesterday. Until he pushed you. Until he told me to get rid of his baby. Until I saw what he really was. She was 26. Natalie was 30. The age gap Preston had chosen deliberately. Young enough to manipulate. Old enough to be credible. Natalie saw herself at 26. Before Preston. Before she had learned to doubt herself. Before she'd become someone who apologized for existing. I'll testify, Mallory said. I'll give you everything. Recordings, emails, photos, all of it. I'll stand up in court and tell the truth about who Preston Caldwell really is. Why, Pa? Natalie asked. Why would you do that? He'll destroy you, your career, your reputation, everything. Because I'm pregnant too. Because I'm going to have this baby. Because I don't want my son growing up thinking it's okay to treat women like Preston treats women. Because someone needs to stop him. Mallory's voice broke. And because I'm sorry. I knew you existed. I knew he was married. I knew it was wrong. I did it anyway. I can't take that back. But I can help you now. Beth was already typing on her laptop. I'll need to depose you formally. Get everything on the record. Make it admissible. Are you ready for that? I'm ready. They spent 3 hours going through everything. Every recording, every photo, every email, building a timeline, creating a narrative, documenting the truth. Ryan joined them, listened to the recordings. His face got harder with each one, his hands clenched tighter, his jaw set firmer. He's a predator, Ryan said finally, a calculated predator. He targeted both of you, isolated you, manipulated you, made you think you were the problem. I was stupid, Mallory said. No, Natalie said. The word came out fierce, definite. You were young, you were manipulated, you were victimized. That's not the same as stupid. They looked at each other. 2 women, both pregnant, both betrayed, both fighting back. I have one more thing, Mallory said. She pulled out a folder. Preston's been embezzling from the company. Small amounts, over 2 years, about $300,000 total. He hides it in fake vendor accounts. I found it 6 months ago. I've been documenting it, waiting for the right time to use it. Beth took the folder, scanned the documents. Her eyes went wide. This is fraud, corporate fraud, criminal charges. I know. I wasn't sure what to do with it. But now I think the board needs to know, and I think his investors need to know, and I think the SEC needs to know. If you report this, you could be implicated, Beth said. As his executive assistant, they might think you were involved. I know, but I kept my own documentation. Emails where I questioned expenses, memos where I flagged irregularities. I protected myself. I'm clean. Mallory smiled, a bitter smile. I told you, insurance. They left the coffee shop at 6. The plan was set. The evidence was gathered. The allies were aligned. Natalie felt different, stronger, not healed, not okay, but different, like something inside her had shifted, like a door had opened that had been closed for years. Back at the hotel, Preston's messages had evolved from threatening to desperate. Preston, the process server came to my office, in front of my staff. You humiliated me. How could you? Preston, I can't believe you're doing this. After everything I've given you. Preston, you'll regret this. I promise you'll regret this. Preston, my lawyer says you have no case. Says you'll lose everything. Last chance to come home. Beth read them aloud. He's panicking. Good. Panicked people make mistakes. At 8 o'clock, Graham Sutherland called. Natalie almost didn't answer, but Beth nodded. Put it on speaker. Natalie, Graham's voice was formal, careful. I need to apologize. I saw what happened at the golf course. I saw Preston push you, and I said nothing. I let him control the narrative. I was wrong. Why are you calling now? Natalie asked. Because I got served with a subpoena to testify, and because I realized I can't stay silent anymore. My son. I had a son. He was like Preston. Brilliant, charming, cruel when no one was watching. He hurt his wife for years. I knew. I said nothing. She finally left him. Took their kids. I never saw my grandchildren again. She was right to leave. I was wrong to stay silent. Graham paused, breathed, continued. I'm prepared to testify about what I saw, about Preston's behavior at the club, about complaints from female staff, about incidents I witnessed over the years. I'm prepared to tell the truth. Thank you, Natalie said. Because what else could she say? After Graham hung up, more calls came. Travis, the Caddie master, offering his video, offering to testify, offering support. A neighbor who'd heard arguments, who'd seen Natalie crying on the porch, who'd been worried but said nothing. Until now, Preston's former assistant, the one who'd left suddenly 2 years ago, who'd signed an NDA, who was willing to break it to tell her story about Preston's harassment, a pattern emerging, of silence breaking, of witnesses coming forward, of people who'd seen but said nothing finally finding courage. This is what happens, Beth said quietly. One person speaks, then another, until the silence becomes a chorus of truth. At 10 o'clock, Vivian Caldwell called, Preston's mother. I assume you're behind this divorce nonsense, Vivian said, ice in her voice. You're making a terrible mistake. Preston is a good man, a good provider. You're ruining his life over nothing. He pushed me, Natalie said, while I was pregnant, in front of witnesses. That's not nothing. Men get frustrated. It happens. You probably provoked him. I reminded him about a doctor's appointment. With the wrong tone, the wrong timing. You've always been difficult, Natalie. Always making demands. Always creating drama. Vivian's voice was certain, absolute. Preston deserves better than you. My grandson deserves better than you as a mother. Granddaughter, Natalie said. Your granddaughter. The baby you keep forgetting is a girl. Whatever. The point is, drop this divorce. Stop being vindictive. Be grateful Preston is willing to give you another chance. Natalie looked at Beth, at Ryan, at Diane, at the people who actually loved her. No, Natalie said. The word felt good, felt powerful. I'm not dropping anything. I'm not going back. And you're not going to see your granddaughter. Because I'm going to protect her from growing up thinking it's okay for men to hurt women. Even if those men are her father. Vivian sputtered. Actually sputtered. You can't keep my grandchild from me. I have rights. Grandparents don't have rights in this state unless there's been an established relationship. And since my daughter isn't born yet, there's no relationship. So no, you don't have rights. You have nothing. Natalie hung up, turned off her phone, looked at her family. I'm done being afraid. I'm done being careful. I'm done protecting everyone except myself and my daughter. The words felt like an oath, a promise, a declaration of independence. Outside the hotel window, the city lights blinked. Life continued. People went about their business. The world kept turning. But Natalie's world had shifted, irreversibly, completely, and there was no going back. Sleep didn't come easy. Natalie lay in the hotel bed staring at the ceiling. Her daughter kicked and moved. Restless baby, sensing her mother's tension. Or maybe just being a baby. Hard to know. At 2 in the morning, Natalie gave up on sleep, got up carefully, tried not to wake Diane, went to the bathroom, looked at herself in the mirror. Pale, tired, 6 months pregnant, running on adrenaline and fear and determination. Not a good combination, not sustainable, but necessary. She thought about the house. Her house, Preston's house, their house, the place she'd lived for 5 years, the place where she'd been slowly erased. She thought about what else might be hidden there, what other evidence Preston might have left, what other secrets might be waiting. At 7 in the morning, Beth arrived with coffee and bagels and a plan. "We need to go back to the house," Beth said, "with a police escort. Get your things, document everything. Make sure Preston hasn't destroyed evidence." "He's probably there," Natalie said. "He's not. I had my paralegal drive by at 6. His car's gone. He left for work early, probably meeting with his lawyers, planning his counterattack." They went at 8. Natalie, Beth, Ryan, and 2 police officers. The police presence was necessary, legally required. Protection against accusations of theft or trespassing from your own home. The house looked the same, perfect landscaping, perfect paint, perfect exterior, no hint of the rot inside. Natalie used her key, walked in. The air smelled like Preston's cologne, like his coffee, like the life she was leaving behind. "Where do we start?" Ryan asked. "His office," Beth said. "Get everything, files, hard drives, backup drives, everything." But Preston had been busy. His office was stripped, computer gone, file cabinets empty. Nothing left except furniture and the certificates on the walls. "He took it all," Natalie said. "Everything." "Doesn't matter," Beth said. "We have copies. We have the videos we downloaded. We have the screenshots. He can't erase what we already saved." They moved through the house. Natalie packed her clothes, her books, her mother's cookbook, the ultrasound photos, the baby clothes she'd bought, the crib she'd assembled, everything that was hers. In the nursery, she sat in the rocking chair. The room she'd decorated, the room where she'd imagined rocking her daughter to sleep, the room that now felt like a museum of dreams that would never come true. Not never come true, just differently true. She'd still rock her daughter, still sing lullabies, still be a mother, just not here, not in this house, not with Preston. "Nat?" Ryan stood in the doorway. "Found something, in the garage, hidden behind the golf clubs." A box, cardboard, unlabeled. Inside were documents, lots of documents. Insurance policies, the ones on Natalie and the baby, both for substantial amounts. A folder labeled exit strategy. Inside was a timeline. Preston's handwritten notes. A plan laid out in detail. Month 6 of pregnancy. Document her emotional instability, her weight gain, her crying. Build foundation for mental health concerns. Month 7. Increase pressure. Create situations where she fails. Can't handle stress. Can't manage household. Document everything. Month 8. Suggest counseling. Document her refusal. Or if she agrees, find therapist who will support narrative of instability. Month 9. Delivery. Be perfect husband. Supportive. Present. Build public image of devoted father while privately documenting her failures as mother. First 3 months postpartum. Document postpartum depression. Her inability to bond with baby. Her inadequacy as mother. Get therapist statements. Pediatrician concerns. Build case. Month 4 postpartum. File for divorce. Emergency custody. Full documentation of unstable mother. Win custody. Keep baby. Keep assets. Move on with life. The plan was detailed, methodical, chilling in its calculation. He'd been planning this for months, Natalie said. Her voice was flat, empty. Since the moment I got pregnant, he didn't want a baby. He wanted ammunition. More documents. Research on postpartum depression. How to recognize it. How to document it. How to use it in custody battles. Notes about Diane's history. Her depression after her husband died. Genetic predisposition. Evidence of mental health issues running in family. Research about nannies, agencies, background checks, ishitans. He'd already been planning to hire help, not to support Natalie, to replace her. A list of lawyers, custody specialists, experts who could testify, psychologists who would evaluate Natalie and find her wanting. He thought of everything, Beth said. She was photographing every page, documenting the documentation. This is premeditation. This is conspiracy. This is the most calculated abuse I've ever seen. Natalie walked through the house one more time. This place where she tried to build a life, where she tried to be a good wife, where she'd slowly disappeared. In the bedroom, she opened Preston's nightstand, looking for what she didn't know, but she looked anyway. Inside was his iPad, the one he used for personal stuff, the one he thought was secure, the one he'd forgotten to take in his rush to clear out his office. She opened it. The password screen appeared. She tried the usual password. Wrong. Tried another. Wrong. Tried his mother's maiden name. It unlocked. The iPad loaded. Email open. Messages from this morning. Frantic messages to his lawyer. Preston to lawyer. She has his evidence. Videos. Financial records. I don't know how she got them, but she has them. We need to attack her credibility. Make her look unstable. Make the evidence look fabricated. Lawyer to Preston. What evidence? Be specific. Preston to lawyer. Security camera footage from the house shows me responding to her provocations. Also financial records, account transfers. But those were legal. My money. I can do what I wanted with it. Lawyer to Preston. If her name was on the account, it's marital property. Moving it without her knowledge is illegal. You should have consulted me before doing that. Preston to lawyer. Too late now, just fix it. That's what I pay you for. More messages. Preston to Mallory. From late last night. Preston to Mallory. We need to talk. I know you're upset about yesterday, but you're being emotional. Pregnancy hormones. We can work this out. Don't do anything stupid. Mallory to Preston. I already did something stupid. I believed you. I won't make that mistake again. Preston to Mallory. Are you threatening me? Because that would be a big mistake. I can destroy your career. Make you unemployable. Think very carefully about your next move. Mallory to Preston. I've already made my move. I talked to Natalie. I gave her everything. Recordings, emails, evidence. You're done, Preston. The timestamp showed midnight. 3 hours after Mallory left the coffee shop. She'd warned him, let him know what was coming, given him a chance to see the consequences of his actions. Preston's response came at 1 a.m. Preston to Mallory, you stupid bitch. You have no idea what you've done. I will ruin you. I will destroy you. You and Natalie both. You'll both regret this. Natalie showed the messages to Beth. Beth photographed them, added them to the evidence file, built the case stronger and stronger. He's making mistakes, Beth said, threatening witnesses, threatening you, showing his true character. Let him keep making mistakes. They loaded everything into Diane's car. Clothes, documents, baby things, pieces of a life being dismantled, pieces that would be reassembled somewhere new. As they drove away, Natalie looked back at the house. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, granite and stainless steel and walk-in closets, everything money could buy, everything except safety, everything except love, everything except truth. She didn't feel sad leaving, didn't feel loss, just felt relief, like a weight lifting, like breathing after being underwater, like freedom. Her phone buzzed, text from Preston. He must have realized she'd been in the house, must have noticed things missing. Preston, you broke into my house and stole my property. That's criminal. I'm calling the police. Beth took the phone, typed a response. Beth, this is Beth Moreno, Natalie's attorney. Your wife entered the marital residence to collect her personal belongings. This is legal. The police escort can confirm. Any further harassment will be documented and reported to the court. All communication must go through me. Preston, fine, have it your way. But when I get full custody and you're paying me child support, remember you did this to yourself. Beth didn't respond, just turned off the phone, smiled. He's desperate. That message is pure desperation disguised as threat. They went back to the hotel, unloaded everything, made the temporary space more permanent, more lived in. Diane made tea, Ryan ordered pizza, Beth worked on her laptop. Natalie sat on the bed with her hands on her belly. Her daughter kicked. Strong kicks, fighter kicks. "You're going to be okay," Natalie whispered to her belly. "We're going to be okay, I promise." And this time she believed it, really believed it. Not just hope or wish, but certainty. They'd gathered the evidence. They'd built the case. They'd assembled the allies. Now they just had to wait for the hearing. 10 days until everything would be decided. 10 days to prepare for war. Days 3 through 6 were a blur. Beth worked 18-hour days, building the case, interviewing witnesses, taking depositions, creating a narrative that couldn't be denied. Mallory's deposition took 6 hours. She told everything. The affair, the recordings, Preston's plans, his cruelty, his calculation. She cried twice, but she didn't waver, didn't back down, didn't protect him. Travis gave his deposition, provided the video, testified about Preston's behavior at the golf club, about complaints from staff, about witnessing arguments in the parking lot. Graham Sutherland came forward, formally, officially, testified about the golf course incident, about Preston's character, about concerns the club had ignored. Dr. Mitchell provided medical records, documentation of the injuries, notes about suspected domestic violence, professional opinion about the danger. The case built, layer upon layer, evidence upon evidence, truth upon truth. Preston fought back. His lawyers filed motions, attacked Natalie's credibility, claimed she was vindictive, unstable, manipulative, using the pregnancy to trap him. They subpoenaed her medical records, looking for mental health issues, found nothing, just a healthy pregnancy, regular checkups, no red flags. They interviewed her former coworkers, looking for proof she was difficult, unstable, found the opposite. Everyone liked her, respected her, missed her after she quit. They tried to attack Mallory, called her a scorned mistress, a woman seeking revenge. But Mallory had the recordings, the evidence, the timeline. She wasn't scorned, she was a witness. On day 7, Preston showed up at the hotel. Somehow he'd found them. Somehow he'd tracked them down. Ryan intercepted him in the lobby, stood between Preston and the elevator. Military bearing, unwavering stance. "You need to leave," Ryan said. "There's a restraining order. You're not supposed to be here." "This is a public space. I can be wherever I want." Preston's voice was cold, controlled. "I just want to talk to my wife." "Your soon-to-be ex-wife. And no, you can't talk to her. She's carrying my child. I have rights." "You had rights. You lost them when you pushed her, when you planned to steal her baby, when you made her life hell for 6 months." Ryan stepped closer, didn't touch Preston, didn't need to. "You're going to leave now or I'm calling the police." Preston looked up at him. Ryan was taller, broader, trained in combat, unafraid. "This isn't over," Preston said. "Yeah, it is. You just haven't accepted it yet." Preston left, but not before taking photos of the hotel, documentation, building his own case, trying to prove Natalie had abandoned the marital home, had taken their property, had broken the rules. Beth filed a motion, violation of restraining order, harassment, stalking, added it to the pile of evidence. On day 8, the company board called Mallory in for questioning. They'd received anonymous copies of the embezzlement evidence. They wanted answers. Mallory told them everything, showed them her documentation, her memos, her emails questioning expenses, proved she'd flagged irregularities, proved she wasn't complicit. The board suspended Preston, pending investigation, pending audit, pending resolution. His perfect image crumbled. The successful CEO, the brilliant businessman, the charming leader, all of it falling apart. On day 9, Vivian showed up at the hotel. Diane met her in the lobby. Mother versus mother, protector versus attacker. "You're poisoning her against my son," Vivian said. "Your son poisoned himself," Diane replied. "I'm just helping my daughter see clearly." Preston made mistakes, men do. But Natalie's overreacting, making a mountain out of a molehill, destroying a good man over nothing. He pushed her while pregnant. That's not nothing, that's assault. She provoked him. She's always been difficult, always demanding, always creating drama. Diane stepped closer. Nurse voice, the voice she used for difficult patients, for people in denial. Your son is abusive. Your son is manipulative. Your son planned to take Natalie's baby and destroy her life. And you knew, deep down you knew. You just chose not to see it. I don't have to listen to this. Vivian turned to leave, stopped, turned back. When Preston gets custody, you'll regret taking her side. He's not getting custody, and I'll never regret protecting my daughter. Vivian left, defeated but not broken, angry but not loud, calculating her next move. That night, the lawyers met. Preston's team, Beth's team. Court ordered mediation before the hearing, one last chance to settle without trial. Natalie wasn't there. Too stressful, too dangerous. Beth represented her, fought for her. Preston's offer, joint custody. Natalie gets the house but no alimony. She drops all charges, signs an NDA, never speaks about him publicly, raises their daughter to respect her father. Beth's counteroffer, full custody to Natalie, supervised visitation only. Preston pays child support, pays spousal support, no NDA. Truth comes out. Preston's lawyer laughed. Your client has no case. She abandoned the marital home. She's making false accusations. She's trying to alienate the child from the father. The judge will see through this. Beth pulled out the evidence. Not all of it, just enough. The video from the golf course, the financial fraud, the recordings, the exit strategy document. Your client is an abuser, a manipulator, a thief. The judge will see through him. The mediation ended. No settlement, no compromise. They'd see each other in court. Beth came back to the hotel at midnight, exhausted, wired, ready. Tomorrow's the day, Beth said. The hearing, everything we've built comes down to tomorrow. Natalie couldn't sleep, paced the hotel room, hand on her belly, talking to her daughter. Tomorrow decides everything. Tomorrow the judge looks at the evidence, looks at your father, looks at me, and decides who keeps you safe. The baby kicked, agreeing, or just being a baby. Hard to know. Diane made chamomile tea. Ryan did push-ups in the corner, burning off nervous energy, preparing for battle the only way he knew how. What if we lose? Natalie asked. We won't lose, Beth said. But what if we do? What if the judge doesn't believe me? What if Preston's lawyers are better? What if he gets custody? Then we appeal. We fight. We don't give up. Beth took Natalie's hands. But we're not going to lose. I've been doing this for 10 years. I know a strong case when I see one. And this is the strongest case I've ever had. He's going to testify. He's going to lie. He's going to make me look bad. Let him lie, because we have video, we have audio, we have witnesses, we have evidence. His lies don't matter when we have truth. They tried to sleep, failed, watched the clock tick toward morning, toward the hearing, toward the moment everything would change. At 5 a.m, Natalie gave up, took a shower, hot water, steam, trying to wash away the fear, the doubt, the uncertainty. She looked at herself in the foggy mirror. 7 months pregnant now. Her belly huge, her body transformed, her face different, older, harder, stronger. She wasn't the woman she'd been 6 months ago. Wasn't the woman who'd apologized for breathing, who'd made herself small, who'd protected Preston's reputation over her own safety. She was someone new, someone who'd been through fire and survived, someone who was ready to fight. At 8 a.m, they drove to the courthouse. Beth in her best suit, Natalie in a navy dress, maternity clothes that were professional, respectable, perfect for making a good impression. The courthouse was busy, people everywhere, lawyers, clients, families torn apart by divorce and custody battles. The machinery of justice grinding forward. They went through security, up to the 3rd floor, family court, where futures were decided, where children's lives were determined, where justice tried its best to prevail. Preston was already there, in a perfect suit, perfect hair, perfect image, surrounded by 3 lawyers, all expensive, all polished, and all ready to fight. He saw Natalie. Their eyes met across the hallway. His face showed nothing. No anger, no fear, no emotion, just cold calculation. She looked away first, couldn't hold his gaze, couldn't face the man she'd loved, the man who'd destroyed her, the man who was trying to take her daughter. "Don't look at him," Beth whispered. "Don't engage. Don't react. Just breathe." The courtroom doors opened. They were called in. The battle was about to begin. The courtroom was smaller than Natalie expected. Not like TV, no dramatic lighting, no grand space, just a functional room with fluorescent lights and worn carpet and chairs that had seen thousands of families torn apart. Judge Patricia Morrison presided. Late 50s, gray hair pulled back, reading glasses, face that had seen everything, heard every lie, witnessed every betrayal, grown weary of human cruelty, but still committed to justice. "This is an emergency custody hearing," Judge Morrison said. Her voice was firm, matter-of-fact. "We're here because Mrs. Harper has filed for divorce and emergency sole custody. Mr. Caldwell opposes. Both sides have substantial evidence. We'll hear testimony. Review documentation. Make a decision that serves the best interest of the child." Preston's lawyer stood, Marcus Webb, 60 years old, silver hair, expensive suit, reputation for destroying opposing witnesses. "Your Honor, my client is a devoted father-to-be, a successful businessman, a man of impeccable character. His wife has made false accusations, left the marital home, attempted to alienate him from his child. We ask the court to see this for what it is, a vindictive woman trying to punish her husband for imagined slights." Beth stood, calm, steady, prepared. "Your Honor, Mrs. Harper is a victim of domestic violence. Her husband assaulted her while she was 6 months pregnant, pushed her at a golf course in front of witnesses. We have video evidence, medical documentation, witness testimony, and more. Mr. Caldwell has been planning to take custody since the moment his wife got pregnant. He's been systematically building a false case against her, documenting non-existent mental health issues, moving marital assets, preparing to destroy her. We ask the court to protect Mrs. Harper and her daughter." Judge Morrison looked over her glasses. "I've reviewed the preliminary filings. Both sides have compelling arguments. We'll start with testimony. Mrs. Harper, you'll go first." Natalie walked to the witness stand, hand on the Bible, sworn to tell the truth, sat down, looked out at the courtroom. Preston sat at his table, face neutral, body language confident, like he was in a board meeting, like this was just another business negotiation. Beth began, "Mrs. Harper, can you tell us what happened at the golf course on the afternoon of September 15th? Natalie took a breath. "I went to remind my husband about my doctor's appointment, a scheduled appointment for the baby. He was playing golf with clients. I touched his arm, gently, just to get his attention. He pushed me, hard, with both hands. I fell backward, hit my head, started bleeding." "Did you provoke him in any way?" "No, I just reminded him about the appointment." "What happened after you fell?" "My brother Ryan helped me. He'd been caddying for the group behind my husband's group. He saw everything, called an ambulance, stayed with me." "And your husband?" "He told everyone I tripped, that I was clumsy, that pregnancy made me unstable. He changed the story immediately." Marcus Webb stood. "Objection. Speculation about my client's motivations." "Sustained," Judge Morrison said. "Stick to facts, Mrs. Harper." Natalie continued. "The ambulance took me to the hospital. Preston followed. He performed, acted like a concerned husband in front of doctors. But when we were alone, he blamed me, said I embarrassed him, said I was dramatic." Beth showed the video, Travis's recording, clear footage of Preston pushing Natalie, her falling, the assault undeniable. "Your Honor, I'd like to enter this video as evidence." "Accepted," Judge Morrison said. She watched the video, her face hardened. "Continue." Beth walked Natalie through everything, The security camera footage from home, Preston's rage, his manipulation, his plan documented in his own handwriting. Marcus Webb's cross-examination was brutal. Mrs. Harper, you claim my client is abusive, yet you never reported anything to police, never sought help, never told anyone. Why? I was scared. I didn't think anyone would believe me. Or maybe nothing happened. Maybe you're making this up for leverage in a divorce. No, it happened. All of it happened. You left the marital home, took property, filed for divorce without warning. That sounds vindictive to me. That sounds like survival to me. You're working with your husband's former mistress, a woman who has her own vendetta against my client. How convenient. Mallory Bennett is a witness. She has evidence. She's a scorned woman, angry because my client ended their relationship. Her testimony is biased. Beth stood. Your Honor, Ms. Bennett's testimony is corroborated by recordings, documentation, evidence that speaks for itself. We'll hear Ms. Bennett's testimony, Judge Morrison said. Mr. Webb, move on. Webb tried to attack Natalie's character, asked about her employment history, why she quit her job, why she isolated herself, trying to paint her as unstable. But Natalie had answers. Preston had encouraged her to quit, insisted she focus on becoming a mother, isolated her from friends, controlled her finances. Classic abuse pattern. After 2 hours, Natalie stepped down, exhausted, shaking, but holding together. Mallory testified next. Young, nervous, but determined. She told everything. The affair, Preston's plans, his cruelty, played the recordings, clear audio of Preston describing his strategy to take custody, to destroy Natalie, to manipulate the system. Marcus Webb attacked her hard, called her a liar, a homewrecker, a woman scorned, tried to discredit everything. But the recordings didn't lie. Preston's voice was clear. His words were damning. His character was revealed. Ryan testified. Military precision, no emotion, just facts. What he saw, what he witnessed, what he knew. I saw my brother-in-law push my pregnant sister, hard enough to knock her down, hard enough to split her head open, hard enough to potentially harm his own child. That's not a man who should have custody, Dr. Mitchell testified. Medical evidence, bruising patterns consistent with assault, pregnancy complications from the fall, professional concern about domestic violence. Graham Sutherland testified, golf club president, respected businessman. No reason to lie. I saw Preston Caldwell push his pregnant wife. I saw him immediately change the narrative. I saw him manipulate the truth. And I said nothing. That was wrong. I'm saying something now. The evidence mounted, video, audio, documents, witnesses, truth building into an undeniable mountain. Then Preston testified. He walked to the stand, confident, smooth, ready to perform. Marcus Webb led him through a prepared narrative. Loving husband, excited father-to-be, wife who became increasingly unstable during pregnancy, arguments that escalated, concerns about her mental health. I never pushed her, Preston said. She stumbled. I tried to catch her, but she fell too fast. The video shows my arms extended, trying to help, not trying to hurt. Beth stood for cross-examination. Mr. Caldwell, you claim you were trying to catch your wife, yet the video shows both your palms flat against her shoulder. Pushing motion, not catching motion. Can you explain that? It happened fast. My perspective was different. I was trying to help. You texted multiple people within minutes of the incident, telling them she fell, that she was unstable, that pregnancy made her clumsy. Why did you need to establish that narrative so quickly? I was concerned. I wanted people to know what happened. Or you wanted to control what people believed happened. That's not true. Beth pulled out the financial records. You moved $100,000 from a joint account to a separate account in your name only, without your wife's knowledge. Why? That was my money from before the marriage. The account was established after your marriage, with both your names. The money came from marital assets you stole from your wife. I didn't steal. I managed our finances. You hid money, moved assets, prepared to leave your wife with nothing. That's not management. That's fraud. Preston's composure cracked, just slightly, a flash of anger. I was protecting my interests. From what? From your pregnant wife? From a woman who was becoming unstable, who was making demands, who was threatening me. She never threatened you. She reminded you about a doctor's appointment, and you pushed her for it. I didn't push her. Beth pulled out the exit strategy document, Preston's handwriting, his plan laid out in detail. Is this your handwriting, Mr. Caldwell? Preston looked at it, went pale. That was just notes, contingency planning. Contingency planning to take custody from your wife, to document false mental health concerns, to use her pregnancy symptoms against her, to destroy her reputation, steal her child. No, that's not what that says. That's exactly what it says. In your handwriting, your plan, your premeditation. You're twisting everything. I'm reading your words, your plan, your truth. Judge Morrison leaned forward. Mr. Caldwell, I'd like to hear you explain this document. In your own words, without your lawyer's help. Preston stammered, tried to explain, but there was no good explanation. The document was clear. His intentions were obvious. His character was exposed. Beth played the recordings, Mallory's evidence, Preston's voice describing his plans, using words like ammunition and strategy and destroy her. That was taken out of context, Preston said. What context makes those words acceptable? Beth asked. Preston had no answer. The hearing went on for 6 hours. Evidence upon evidence. Testimony upon testimony. Truth upon truth. Finally, Judge Morrison called a recess. I need time to review everything. Deliberate. Make a decision. We'll reconvene tomorrow morning. Tomorrow. One more night of uncertainty. One more night of fear. One more night of waiting. They left the courthouse at 5. Natalie was exhausted, barely able to walk. 7 months pregnant and emotionally destroyed and running on fumes. In the car, she finally broke down. Cried. Real crying. The kind that came from the depths of her soul. The kind that had been building for months. I can't do this anymore, she sobbed. I can't fight anymore. I'm so tired. Diane held her. One more day, just one more day, then it's over. What if we lose? We won't lose. But what if we do? Then we appeal. We keep fighting. We never give up. Diane pulled back, looked at her daughter. You're the strongest person I know. You survived 6 months of hell. You escaped. You gathered evidence. You built a case. You testified. You've already won. No matter what the judge says tomorrow, you've already won. That night at the hotel, Natalie sat in the bathtub, fully clothed, water running over her, warm, soothing, the baby moving inside her. She thought about the woman at the golf course. The woman who'd apologized to Preston's friends for causing a scene while bleeding. The woman who'd made excuses. Who'd protected him. Who'd been so small. That woman was gone. Dead. Buried under truth and evidence and courage. In her place was someone new. Someone Natalie was just beginning to know. Someone who'd faced her abuser in court. Who'd told the truth. Who'd fought back. She whispered to her belly, tomorrow we find out if fighting was enough. The baby kicked. Strong kicks. Fighter kicks. Survivor kicks. Maybe that was answer enough. Morning came with gray skies and cold rain. Appropriate weather for Judgment Day. For the moment when everything would be decided. Natalie dressed carefully. Navy maternity dress. Professional. Respectable. Trying to look like someone who deserved to keep her child. They arrived at the courthouse at 9. Preston was already there. Looking tired, looking older, looking defeated but not broken. Still calculating. Still planning. At 9:30, Judge Morrison called them back into the courtroom. I've reviewed all the evidence, Judge Morrison said. Watched the videos, listened to the recordings, read the documents, heard the testimony. This is one of the clearest cases of domestic abuse and manipulation I've seen in my 20 years on the bench. Natalie's heart raced. Beth squeezed her hand under the table. Judge Morrison continued, Mr. Caldwell, I find your testimony to be inconsistent with the evidence. The video clearly shows you pushing your wife, not attempting to catch her, not responding to provocation, simply pushing a pregnant woman hard enough to cause injury. That alone is grounds for concern about your fitness as a parent. Preston's face remained neutral, but his hands clenched on the table. Furthermore, the financial fraud documented here is egregious. Moving marital assets without your wife's knowledge, forging her signature, hiding money in preparation for divorce. These are criminal acts. I'm referring this matter to the district attorney for prosecution. Marcus Webb started to object. Judge Morrison held up her hand. I'm not finished. The exit strategy document, the recordings, the systematic plan to document false mental health concerns, to use pregnancy symptoms as evidence of unfitness, to manipulate the legal system to steal custody. This shows calculation, premeditation, a complete disregard for your wife's well-being and your child's best interest. The judge removed her glasses, looked directly at Preston. Mr. Caldwell, you are not fit to have custody of this child. Your behavior demonstrates a pattern of abuse, manipulation, and violence that puts both mother and child at risk. Preston's composure finally cracked. Your Honor, this is ridiculous. She's manipulating you. She's playing the victim. I'm the successful one. I'm the provider. I'm the stable parent. You are an abuser, Judge Morrison said flatly. Your success and wealth do not change that fact. If anything, they make you more dangerous because you have resources to continue your abuse through the legal system. She put her glasses back on, read from her written order. Therefore, I am granting Mrs. Harper full physical and legal custody of the minor child. Mr. Caldwell will have supervised visitation only, 2 hours per week at an approved facility with a professional supervisor present. Mr. Caldwell will complete a 52-week domestic violence intervention program before any reconsideration of custody arrangements. Preston stood up. This is insane. You can't do this. I have rights. Sit down, Mr. Caldwell, Judge Morrison said. Her voice was steel. You had rights. You lost them when you chose violence over love, when you chose manipulation over honesty, when you chose to hurt the mother of your child. Security moved closer. Preston sat down. His lawyers whispered frantically to him. Judge Morrison continued. The restraining order is extended. Mr. Caldwell is to have no contact with Mrs. Harper outside of supervised visitation. No phone calls, no texts, no emails, no social media, no third-party contact. Any violation will result in immediate arrest and potential termination of all parental rights. Your Honor, Marcus Webb tried. I said I'm not finished. Judge Morrison's eyes flashed. Mr. Caldwell will pay child support. Given his income, I'm setting it at $5,000 per month. He will also pay spousal support of $3,000 per month for 3 years while Mrs. Harper reestablishes her career and financial independence. $8,000 a month? Preston's voice rose. That's excessive. That's less than you spend on golf club memberships, Judge Morrison replied. Consider yourself fortunate I'm not awarding more given your fraudulent transfer of marital assets. Speaking of which, Mr. Caldwell will return the $100,000 he moved from the joint account, plus interest, within 30 days. She signed the order. This case is not sealed. The public has a right to know. Mr. Caldwell's behavior is a matter of public record. Any attempts to use NDAs or confidentiality agreements to silence Mrs. Harper will be considered witness intimidation. The gavel came down. Final, absolute justice delivered. Natalie couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Her whole body was shaking. Beth grabbed her arm to steady her. You did it, Beth whispered. You won. But it didn't feel like winning. It felt like surviving, like making it through a war, like emerging from fire burned and scarred but alive. Preston stood. His face was white with rage, pure, undiluted rage. Security moved between him and Natalie as he was escorted from the courtroom, but his eyes never left her. This isn't over, he said as he passed. I'll appeal. I'll fight this. You haven't won. Yes, she has, Judge Morrison said from the bench. And Mr. Caldwell, that statement constitutes harassment. Consider it documented. One more word and you'll be held in contempt. Preston left, his lawyers scrambling to keep up, his perfect image shattered, his control obliterated, his true face finally exposed for everyone to see. The courtroom emptied. Natalie sat there, still shaking, still processing, still trying to understand that it was over. Ryan pulled her into a hug, careful of her belly. "You did it, Nat. You protected your daughter." Diane was crying, happy tears, relief tears, mother tears. "I'm so proud of you." Mallory appeared in the hallway. She'd been waiting outside, not allowed in the courtroom after giving her testimony. "I heard you won." Natalie looked at her, this young woman who'd been manipulated too, who'd found courage to speak truth, who'd helped save them both. "We won," Natalie said. "Thank you." "I'm going to have my baby," Mallory said. "Keep him. Raise him alone, and I'm going to teach him to be nothing like his father. He doesn't have to be like his father. You're proof that Preston's genetics don't determine destiny." They hugged, briefly, awkwardly. Two women bound by survival. Not friends, not yet, but allies, warriors, sisters in survival. Graham Sutherland approached. "Mrs. Harper, I wanted to apologize again and to tell you that the club board met last night. We're implementing new policies, training for staff on recognizing domestic violence, resources for members who need help. We're calling it Natalie's Law." "Thank you," Natalie said, because what else could she say? Travis, the Caddie master, was there too. "I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad your daughter will be safe. That's all that matters." They left the courthouse at noon. The rain had stopped. Sun breaking through clouds. Symbolic. Too symbolic. But real nonetheless. Beth's phone rang. She answered, listened. Her eyes went wide. "Hold on, hold." She looked at Natalie. That was a reporter from the Business Journal. Preston's company just fired him. The board saw the court ruling, reviewed the embezzlement evidence, terminated him for cause. No severance. No stock options. Nothing. "Good," Ryan said. "There's more. The SEC has opened an investigation, and 3 other women have come forward with similar stories. Former employees, women he harassed, women he manipulated. They're filing lawsuits." The dominoes were falling, one by one. Truth creating consequences. Justice spreading wider than just one courtroom. "What about Vivian?" Diane asked. "His mother?" She released a statement this morning, distancing herself from her son, protecting her social standing. She threw him under the bus to save her reputation. Preston had lost everything. Job, money, reputation, family, control, all of it gone. And Natalie had gained everything that mattered: safety, custody, freedom, truth, herself. They went back to the hotel to pack. The temporary refuge would become even more temporary. Natalie needed a real home, a safe place, a fresh start. "There's an apartment," Diane said. 3 blocks from my house, 2 bedrooms, 1st floor, safe neighborhood, good schools. It's available next week." "I'll take it," Natalie said without hesitation. "You haven't seen it. Doesn't matter if it's away from Preston, away from that house, away from everything. I'll take it." They packed their belongings. The hotel room that had been sanctuary, that had been headquarters. That had been the place where Natalie transformed from victim to survivor. As they loaded the car, Natalie's phone buzzed. Preston had violated the order already. Text message from an unknown number, but obviously him. Unknown. "You think you've won? You haven't. I'll get my daughter back. I'll prove you're unfit. I'll make you pay for humiliating me." Beth took the phone, screenshotted the message. "Violation of restraining of an order within 2 hours. That's a record even for abusers. I'm filing this with the court. He just made things worse for himself." Natalie looked at the message, at the threats from a man who still didn't understand he'd lost, who still believed his wealth and power and control would prevail, who still thought intimidation would work. But she wasn't afraid. Not anymore. Not of his words, not of his threats, not of him. The man I'd loved, thought I'd loved, being arrested on my mother's lawn. I felt nothing, Not satisfaction, not sadness, nothing. He'd made himself irrelevant. They drove to Diane's house. Familiar, safe. The house where Natalie had grown up, where she'd learned to ride a bike and had her first heartbreak and graduated high school. The house that was always home. "Stay here until the apartment's ready," Diane said. "Your old room's still there. We'll set up the nursery in the guest room." That night, Natalie sat in her childhood bedroom. Pink walls she'd painted at 15. Posters long since taken down. But the same bed, the same window, the same view of the backyard where Ryan had taught her to throw a softball. She was 30 years old, 7 months pregnant, divorced, starting over, living with her mother. But she was safe. She was free. She was alive. Her phone rang. "Dr. Mitchell." "I heard about the court ruling," Dr. Mitchell said. "I wanted to check on you. Make sure you're okay, physically and emotionally." "I'm okay, tired, but okay. I'd like to see you next week. Regular checkup. Make sure the baby's doing well after all this stress. Thank you for everything, for believing me, for helping me. That's my job. But more than that, it's my obligation. As a doctor, the woman, the human being. You deserve to be believed. You deserve to be helped." After the call ended, Natalie walked to the mirror, looked at herself, really looked. 7 months pregnant, hair pulled back, face bare, no makeup. No performance, just her. She looked different, not just pregnant, but fundamentally different. Older, wiser, harder, stronger. The woman who'd married Preston was gone. The woman who'd apologized for breathing, who'd made herself small, who'd protected him over herself. In her place was someone new, someone forged in fire, someone who'd fought back, someone who'd won. "I'm not the same person," she whispered to her reflection. "I'm someone else, someone I'm just getting to know." Her daughter kicked, strong kicks, agreeing, encouraging, celebrating. Natalie put her hand on her belly. "You're going to know this version of me, the strong version, the honest version, the version who fights, and you're going to grow up knowing your voice matters, because mine does too." The sun set outside her window, pink and orange and gold. New day ending, new life beginning. And for the first time in 6 months, Natalie slept through the night. No nightmares, no fear, no Preston, just peace. 3 months later, Natalie stood in her new apartment, small, hers, safe. 2 bedrooms on the first floor, hardwood floors, big windows, natural light. A place that smelled like fresh paint and possibility instead of expensive cologne and control. The nursery was ready. Ryan had assembled the crib. Diane had washed all the baby clothes. Beth had bought a mobile that played gentle lullabies. The room was soft yellows and greens, gender neutral but warm. A space for her daughter, a space filled with love. Natalie was 9 months pregnant now. Any day, the doctor had said any day. Her body was ready. Her daughter was ready. They were both ready. She stood at the kitchen window, morning light streaming in, a cup of coffee in her hands. Black, no sugar, no cream. Simple, pure, honest. Morning coffee tastes different now. Not bitter, just coffee. I drink it black, sitting by the window in silence, and it's the best part of my day. Her phone buzzed. Text from Beth. "Beth, checking in. How are you feeling?" Natalie. "Good, tired, ready to meet my daughter." Beth, "You're going to be an amazing mother. Call me when labor starts. I want to meet her." Natalie. "Will do." Natalie had been working again. Freelance marketing. Clients who needed websites and branding and social media strategy. She worked from home. Flexible hours. Using the skills she'd forgotten she had. Turns out she was good at her job. Had always been good. Just needed the freedom to remember. Money was tight. $8,000 a month from Preston helped. But it wasn't wealth, it was survival. Learning to budget, learning to live simply. Learning that happiness didn't require granite countertops and walk-in closets. Preston had filed an appeal. Of course he had. Marcus Webb had filed motion after motion, trying to overturn the custody ruling. trying to reduce support payments, trying to salvage something. Every motion was denied. Every appeal failed. The evidence was too strong. The truth was too clear. Preston's guilt was too obvious. He'd been arrested twice for violating the restraining order. Once for showing up at Diane's house, once for sending flowers to the hospital when Natalie went for a checkup. Both times he'd been released with warnings. But the violations were documented, building a pattern, proving Beth's point that abusers never stop. They just changed tactics. The supervised visits hadn't started. Preston refused to attend the domestic violence program, claimed he didn't need it, claimed he'd done nothing wrong, so the visits remained suspended, his own stubbornness keeping him from his daughter. Mallory had her baby 2 weeks ago, a boy, 8 pounds, healthy, perfect. She'd named him Connor. No mention of Preston on the birth certificate, no father listed, just Mallory raising her son alone, building a life separate from his toxic father. They texted sometimes, Natalie and Mallory, not friends exactly, but connected. Survivors checking in on each other, making sure they were both still standing, still fighting, still winning. The doorbell rang. Natalie waddled to answer it. 9 months pregnant meant waddling. No other way to describe it. Ryan stood there with groceries. Brought supplies. Mom said you're running low. I can grocery shop. I know, but why should you when you have a brother with too much free time? He carried the bags to the kitchen, started unpacking. Plus, I wanted to check the locks, make sure everything's secure. Ryan, I'm safe. Preston's not coming here. I know, but I check anyway. Humor me. Ryan had gotten a job at a security firm, private security for executives and high-profile clients. Good money, flexible schedule, close enough to help when Natalie needed him. He'd also started dating someone, a teacher, kindergarten, sweet, normal, someone who appreciated his protective instincts without needing protection. Natalie had met her last week, liked her immediately. How's Preston? Natalie asked. Didn't really care, but felt like she should ask. Living in a rental, lost the house in the divorce settlement, while most of his assets paying legal fees. Can't find work. His reputation's destroyed. He's basically unemployable in this city. Good. He's been seen at bars, drinking too much, complaining to anyone who'll listen about how you ruined his life. I didn't ruin his life. He ruined it himself. I just stopped letting him ruin mine. Ryan smiled. Proud brother smile. Exactly. A contraction hit, mild, just a tightening. Natalie breathed through it, waited for it to pass. Was that? Ryan started. Just Braxton Hicks. False labor. I've been having them for days. You sure? Pretty sure. Another contraction, stronger. Natalie gripped the counter, breathed, counted, waited. Okay, maybe not Braxton Hicks, she admitted. Hospital. Now I'm driving. I need to call Mom and Beth and Dr. Mitchell. I'll call them from the car. You just focus on breathing. Labor progressed fast, faster than expected. By the time they got to the hospital, Natalie was 3 centimeters dilated. By the time Diane arrived, she was at 5. By the time Beth showed up, she was at 7 and screaming for an epidural. Too late for epidural, the nurse said, not unkindly, just factually. You're progressing too fast, the baby's coming. I don't want to do this without drugs, Natalie panted. I changed my mind. I want all the drugs. Too late, Diane said. She was in nurse mode, calm, professional, supporting. You can do this. Women have been doing this forever. You're strong. You're ready. I'm not ready. Yes, you are. Dr. Mitchell arrived, checked Natalie, smiled. Almost there. Just a little more. You're doing great. Natalie wanted to scream that she wasn't doing great, that she was dying, that labor was torture designed by sadistic evolution. But another contraction hit and she couldn't speak, could only push and scream and hold Diane's hand and Ryan's hand and survive. At 4:27 in the afternoon on a Tuesday in November, Emma Louise Harper entered the world. 7 pounds 9 ounces, 20 inches long, perfect, healthy, alive. They placed her on Natalie's chest, wet, screaming, beautiful, her daughter, her miracle, her reason for everything. Emma had dark hair, Natalie's eyes, Preston's nose, unfortunately, but mostly she just looked like herself, like Emma, like a tiny person who'd been waiting to be born, who'd been fighting alongside her mother for months. "Hi, baby," Natalie whispered. "I'm your mom. I've been waiting for you." Emma stopped crying, opened her eyes, looked at her mother with that unfocused newborn gaze that seemed to see everything and nothing. I held Emma and thought about how close I'd come to raising her in Preston's house, under Preston's rules, becoming smaller and smaller until I disappeared. She'd have learned to apologize for existing. Not anymore. Never again. "She's perfect," Diane said, crying. Happy grandmother tears. "She's got your stubborn chin," Ryan said, also crying. Tough military man reduced to tears by a 7-pound baby. They spent 2 days in the hospital. Natalie learning to breastfeed, learning to change diapers, learning to be a mother. It was harder than she expected, more exhausting, more overwhelming, but also more amazing, more perfect, more right. Preston sent flowers to the hospital room. Orchids, expensive, with a card that said, "Congratulations on the birth of our daughter. I look forward to meeting her soon." Diane threw them away before Natalie even saw them. "He violated the restraining order again," Beth said when she visited. "I'm filing contempt charges, pushing for jail time." He needs to learn that rules apply to him too. "I don't want her to grow up knowing her father's in jail," Natalie said. "She won't know. She'll just know she's safe. That's what matters." They went home on day 3, to the small apartment, the safe space, the fresh start. Ryan had installed a top-of-the-line security system, cameras, motion sensors, panic buttons, overkill. But appreciated. The first night home was terrifying. Emma cried every 2 hours. Natalie had no idea what she was doing. Second-guessed every decision, worried about everything. But they survived. Night became day. Day became night. The blur of new motherhood, the exhaustion, the joy, the fear, the love. Weeks passed, then months. Emma grew, changed, developed a personality. She was strong-willed, opinionated, vocal. Everything Natalie used to be before Preston, everything Natalie was becoming again. Mallory visited sometimes, brought Connor, the 2 babies born from the same toxic father. Half-siblings who would grow up knowing each other, who would grow up knowing the truth, who would grow up better than their genetics suggested. Preston requested supervised visitation when Emma was 2 months old. The domestic violence program remained incomplete, but he filed a motion claiming he'd changed, that he deserved to meet his daughter. The motion was denied. Again. At 3 months old, Emma smiled for the first time. A real smile, recognition, joy. Natalie cried, happy tears, overwhelmed mother tears. At 4 months, Emma laughed. A belly laugh at Ryan making funny faces. The sound was pure magic, pure happiness, pure proof that life could be good. Natalie started getting comments. At the grocery store, at the doctor's office, at the park. "You're doing this alone. You're so brave. Where's the father? It must be so hard without support." She wanted to scream that she had support, that her mother and brother and friend were more support than Preston ever was. That being alone was better than being with someone who hurt you. That survival looked like strength from the outside, but felt like just getting through each day from the inside. But she just smiled, said, "We're doing fine," moved on with her day because she was doing fine. They were doing fine. Emma was healthy, happy, thriving, and Natalie was healing. Slowly, imperfectly, but healing. She still had nightmares sometimes. Dreams where Preston found them, where he took Emma, where the court reversed its decision, where she lost everything. But she'd wake up, check on Emma sleeping in her crib, breathe, remember, safe, free, winning. Her therapist, she had a therapist now, said the nightmares would fade. That trauma took time to process. That healing wasn't linear, that she was doing better than she realized. Natalie wasn't sure about that. Some days she felt strong, other days she felt broken. Most days she felt both. Simultaneously, paradoxically, humanly. On Emma's 6-month birthday, Natalie sat in the rocking chair in the nursery, Emma asleep in her arms, the mobile playing Hush Little Baby, the same song from the hospital, the same melody that had been playing when Natalie's life changed. But the words meant something different now. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird. Natalie smiled, whispered to her sleeping daughter, or Emma, you can say all the words you want. Loud words, true words, your words, and Mama's going to teach you that your voice matters, because mine does too. She thought about the woman at the golf course, the woman who'd been pushed, who'd apologized, who'd been so small. That woman felt like a stranger now, someone Natalie used to know, someone who existed in a past life, someone who'd been buried and mourned and left behind. I'm not the same person I was. I'm not even the person I used to be before Preston. I'm someone new, someone I'm just getting to know, someone I think I'm going to like. The sun rose outside the window, pink and old, casting light across the nursery, across mother and daughter, across the beginning of their story. The real story, the story that wasn't about revenge or justice or even survival. The story about freedom. Natalie looked at her daughter, this perfect human who existed because of terrible circumstances, who was beautiful despite her origin, who would grow up strong because her mother had learned to be strong. Real healing is quieter than revenge, Natalie whispered. It's morning coffee that doesn't taste bitter anymore. It's sleeping through the night. It's watching you grow. It's teaching you that your voice matters because mine does too. Emma stirred, made a small sound, settled back into sleep, trusting, secure, loved. Outside, the city woke up, people starting their days, living their lives, fighting their battles, surviving their wars. And in a small 2-bedroom apartment, in a nursery painted soft yellow, a mother held her daughter and understood something important. Winning wasn't about destroying Preston, wasn't about revenge, wasn't about proving anything. Winning was this moment, this peace, this freedom to love her daughter without fear, to be herself without apology, to exist without making herself small. Winning was teaching Emma something different, something better, something true. Your voice matters, baby girl, Natalie whispered. Always, forever, no matter what, your voice matters. The mobile continued to play, the sun continued to rise, Emma continued to sleep, and Natalie continued to heal. One day at a time, one moment at a time, one small victory at a time, until healing became living, until surviving became thriving, until the past became just a story she told her daughter, a story about a woman who was pushed down, who got back up, who fought back, who won, not with revenge, not with violence, not with becoming what hurt her, but with truth, with courage, with the simple, radical act of choosing herself and her daughter, always her daughter, forever her daughter. The sunrise filled the room with light, a new day, a new life, a new beginning. And it was beautiful. Natalie's story didn't end at that golf course, it began there. If her journey resonated with you, if you saw yourself in her struggles, if you found hope in her strength, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Tell me which moment hit hardest. Was it the golf course push, the security footage, Mallory's testimony, the judge's ruling? Your stories matter too. Your voice matters, just like Natalie learned hers did. Hit that like button if this story moved you. Share it with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's fighting their own battle, someone who needs to know they're not alone, someone who needs to remember they're stronger than they think. And subscribe. Because every week I bring you stories like this, stories of women who fell down and got back up, stories of survival, of strength, of freedom. Next week's story, a teacher discovers her principal husband has been secretly recording her therapy sessions, using her trauma against her, building a case to prove she's unfit. But what he doesn't know is that she's been recording too. You won't want to miss it. Until then, remember Natalie's words to Emma. Your voice matters, always, forever, no matter what. I'll see you in the next story.